apologies.
Yeah. Apologies for the late start of the evening. We'll just get going. To receive and accept apologies for absence for idiots and
anyone from the CRC who want to give their apologies?
Jill Bishop.
Yeah.
Peter Murphy. Jerry Crosby.
Thank you.
okay. Any declaration of interest? Anyone?
For the council.
No.
No? Very good.
Does that apply to the CIC members?
No, it's council. Okay, so may we remind the public that this committee meeting is made up of parish councillors and non-councillors. Whilst councillors may be filmed and recorded, it would be appreciated when asked by non-councillors that filming is paused. So, to adjourn the meeting to enable members of the public. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, I'll add something. There was a girl who had a colleague that was quite distressed, and she couldn't put it in the car to take it away to train. And she specifically asked if she could rent a field, which would be private and quiet, and she could walk there. And she was willing to pay, and she was turned away, as far as I know. And I don't understand. And also, regarding Mr. Strong's traffic reports, which seem wildly exaggerated, it just seems that the CIC seem determined not to allow the Northiam public to use the site. And it just seems extraordinary that such measures are going to prevent what was supposed to be the natural usage of the site. I appreciate you've got the issues of the planning commission with horses now, but the traffic is dubious, I would say. But also this girl with the collie, that seemed very unfair and rather a shame, especially when I've been told that you'd like people to come forward and ask to rent the facilities. So it just seemed a little bit odd.
Okay. Would anyone from the CIC like to comment on that?
I'm not quite sure what Mr. Stratfield means.
I can comment actually.
Oh, sorry.
If everyone's happy?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was the two of us.
Yeah.
I met the lady with her collie, and we thought it was a good idea. We met with Bill, didn't we? But there has turned out to be a slight issue is that we need permitted, what's the proper expression? You're allowed to use your land for other uses for a limited number of days. When I had spoken to the planning officer, he left me with the impression that there might be more days available than I knew about. When I finally pinned him down, he said it was 28 days in total. So with the number of days that the site is being used for other things already, we couldn't be able to run that on a regular basis at the moment.
Do you mean the pop-up parking sort?
Not only that, the parking for the St Michael's, that uses a day, the parking for, because that's a fate-like thing, and parking, well, don't hold me to that, but parking, not fate, parking is being used twice as 2 other days for different events in the village as well. So that adds up, and so she'd only get to use it
so you're saying
once every 2 months or something.
It's a planning issue?
Really, at the moment.
Right, okay.
Because it would be, well, I don't get to vote, so I shouldn't be saying I should be passing my opinion, so I better stop there.
No, that's fine.
So yes, I was keen to have people come forward and have suggestions, and we try and make progress with that, yes, but unfortunately come to a bit of a standstill with this one.
At the moment.
Do you not need planning for a pop-up pub then? A girl can't walk a collie, but you can have 26 days of a pub.
I don't think it's necessarily with regard to actual planning permission for the dog to be walked on. I think it's the fact that we can actually only utilise the area for 28 days, and unfortunately that's been taken up with other things, which is why we can't add on any more days.
Right.
It's not that we need planning permission for her to do so, that's not what we're looking at, is it? It's the fact that there is something to do in the planning whereby you can only utilise it for that amount of time. Do you remember what it is?
The planning permission is only for a charitable animal rehoming,
Right.
and as that doesn't exist there, we can't sort of quietly attach it. We're applying for something
Okay.
else.
All right, so the 28-day rule is quite normal. That's a normal statutory thing. We have it at the pub too. So I do have some animal charities who are potentially looking for a site. Would that be looked upon favourably?
Or are you meaning for now, prior to any planning permission being obtained? Or?
Yes, if you had an offer from a charity to take a lease out which fulfilled the current planning criteria, which raised you a reasonable revenue, as much as you're looking for. I'm not saying it wouldn't be competitive. If it was able to pay you a competitive amount, with that, you wouldn't need to go to planning. You would be able to consider that. So before I raise people's hopes, I don't want to encourage them to come forward and then to be knocked back. And if they do come forward, I'd like them to be received in a positive way. I do appreciate they would have to pay a market rate, but that would fit in with the planning criteria as it stands at present. And how
I think
would
that would
that
have to be addressed as an item on the agenda for councillors to have time to think about that.
May I ask, could it go onto an agenda then? Because it would, as I say,
We can certainly note it for an agenda, can't we?
it's a kind of cart before the horse. I don't want to raise people's hopes, like this girl with your colleague, which I was encouraged to do. I appreciate you said that in good faith, but, and then for people to be knocked back, and for...
It's difficult, isn't it? It's a catch-22 because we want people to come forward so that we know what sort of things are out there and what's available and what we could potentially put on the site. But equally, like you said, you don't want someone to be built up to an idea and then just be depressed if they can't do it or annoyed that they've wasted their time and effort. So
Yes.
it is a bit of a catch-22, isn't it? Because I think, to be honest, in my opinion, it's nice to have ideas come forward so that we can all get an idea of what people might like there.
Also, this would be revenue. The market rate is, you're looking at 26 grand a year, aren't you, that could potentially be generated. So it's worth, just purely from an economic and business point of view, it'd be silly to knock it back, surely. But it would obviously need to be a lease, a proper lease, if they're going to commit to come to you.
Yeah, of course.
In the same, so...
Okay, we'll note to pop that on an agenda.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman, just I think I'm right in saying that the sui generis
Sui generis is what it was. Sorry.
planning issue
Yeah.
means that in order to use the land, the buildings, and any land which is not used for grazing, the user would have to comply, would have to replicate the Blue Cross's use.
Oh, that's true.
Sui generis means outside existing use classes, and therefore it has to apply exactly. If the planning authority wanted to be difficult, they could say, no, you are in breach of planning because you're not using it in the same way as the Blue Cross used it.
Yes, I appreciate that. So, which is why I've been speaking with people who do fit in with this criteria, of which I had great experience because I used to live on the site while it was an animal welfare site. I know exactly what happened there. And this is just again an example of obstacles rather than a positive attitude.
course, well, if we move forward and pop it on an agenda, John, then that's a move forward, which is positive, isn't
That's
it?
great. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Chairman, I also just ask Mr Stretfield what he meant by saying Mr Strong's transport report.
No, I said you were quoting traffic movements which were extremely dubious, and I don't believe were in that report, and you built it up to say that traffic was being backed up in the road during the time of the Blue Cross, which is not true.
I haven't said anything. Council asked a professional firm of land agents to give their opinion on the traffic movements.
That wasn't in that report. The girl who wrote that report was actually the daughter of Lana Wood, I can't remember, it's a double-barreled name, and she actually gave you the same advice that her mother was going to give for free.
I just want to make it absolutely
appreciate
clear
that.
that if I have quoted anything, it is from that report, not my own opinion.
Yeah, absolutely, I appreciate that. However, we have time to adhere to it, and also we don't want anyone getting into a standing match. We need to get factual.
Well, it was in writing, so you can check it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Anything else, Mary? Did you want to add? No. Okay. Is there anything that anyone else would like to make comment or? Okay, fabulous. We'll move on. So, schedule of meeting dates. To the end of the agenda. So we just need to really check if everyone's happy with these dates, and also note that May we need to look at that, because obviously we don't want to clash with our annual parish meeting.
Yeah, so the May meeting, which, so it's going to be full council meeting, and then 2 weeks later on the Tuesday, this meeting. So this meeting in May falls with the annual parish meeting. So it would be quite difficult for us to hold both meetings, and so everyone's going to be in here. So do you want to... I'm just trying to get my calendar up, I apologise.
But this is going to be a recommended key change.
No, so the annual parish meeting, which is Tuesday, is here.
27th.
Yes, and that will be an SFF meeting. We were having, our original May meeting was going to be, the full council May meeting was going to be the 8th, but it's clashing with VE Day. So we moved it back to the 15th. We now have, the chair has a problem with this now.
Sorry.
So, I don't quite know what to do about that. So we could move the meeting a week forward to the 20th on a Tuesday. I don't know exactly. When I looked at the village hall, I don't think there was anything much happening on a Tuesday evening here. I could have a little look while I'm here. But I don't know.
I've got nothing on mine.
No. How is everyone else with the 20th?
It's Tuesday fits in with your normal one, but it's not that means you'll be here twice. So.
We've had our own meetings on Tuesdays. We are generally free on Tuesdays.
So shall we?
20th.
Shall we take the 20th here, and then in December? Oh, it falls all right smack the week before Christmas. I doubt if you really want to come. So did you want to do something similar? Will you get a week forward to the 16th? Yeah.
Yes, nothing that I've got going on the 16th. Everyone else, 16th of December?
If it comes to
December 16th.
Yeah, if it comes to it in the December one, you find you haven't got any reason to meet, you just don't have to have that one. And obviously there's none in August, otherwise I don't get a holiday.
Can't have that, Mary, can we? Okay.
Just the focus for May would be the 13th.
20th, yes, please.
For papers, yeah, because how it works, so you understand, you still have to run it quite like a parish council meeting. So items to be added on the agenda have to come to me.
Closing date for papers in December, the 9th.
Yeah, 9th, sorry, 9th. December, I'm on the month.
Councillor.
7 days.
So that's what we're going to aim for, everyone?
Everyone happy?
Might not have one in December, if we're lucky.
Nah. Well, let's check. And then, so how the meeting will actually run.
Have you got any questions?
Just this
If once you've been to meetings, I mean, so you kind of know we have to have, if you want specific spending agreed, you will need to have told me to get it on the agenda. David and I together, and we'll be meeting the Tuesday before, have a little chat, so you can either tell David or you can tell me, whatever you like. But we do need to have expenditure noted on there. I do have some sort of limited power to authorise small amounts, but while we get going, it might be easier if we just get used to the procedure and just put everything on there. And remember, the spending is within the budgets that have been allocated for next year. So I'll try and send you a budget all so you all know what's sort of there. You know what to ask, and if you want to go outside of the budget, you'll have to go to the full meeting because this committee isn't authorised to spend outside of the budget. If you want a discussion point, just let me know. The day I try and let out, I'm happy to wait till the last minute to let agendas out. If you're waiting for last minute information, I'll wait as long as I can. And if you want to do a written report rather than have to do verbal ones, feel free. Makes my life easier for me to do. Okay. Any questions?
One comment that I'd like to make, and that is that would it be a reasonable assumption that if the CIC has submitted papers for the agenda, that they have actually been read by the parish councillors before the meeting?
Councils are expected to read all their papers before the meeting.
Absolutely. I just would like to make sure that that is the case, because that will hopefully make meetings shorter.
Oh yes, and so councillors, if you have questions that you know for any papers in actual fact, any papers for any meeting, if you have a question, don't wait until the meeting if you know it's going to be an awkward one, as in it might take time to find out the answer. Ask as soon as it's crossed your mind, and then it means that the answer you can ask again at the meeting, and you can get an answer, and hopefully a decision can be made rather than put off because you don't know the piece of information. That should apply to all meetings, councillors.
Yeah, if you have questions, you can email back to the CIC mailbox.
Okay.
We will
Very nice.
spread it to who it needs to go to get the answers.
And if it's a question from a particular councillor, then if we believe that it is a question which should be answered for the benefit of all councillors,
Just
then
blank
we'll
it
just
for
distribute
everybody.
the answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Fabulous. First financial report.
Well, I won't go on.
We'll make the April meeting. Moving on to provision of petty cash will be discussed between the RFO and Jackie.
Ian gives his apologies for not managing to get in contact last week. We got tied up.
Okay, general maintenance issues. Update on maintenance work carried out.
Did I remember to put lovely Mr. Pratt's name on the agenda at the top as person who would be delighted to have attend? Oh, my apologies. I will add him to the list because it would be very handy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I did say to him and asked him if he could come, but he never returned.
Okay, no worries. Because I was hoping he was going to attend.
So we can have an update.
Yeah, so but he gave us quite good. Are you going to do it?
I can do it.
Okay.
So we have quite a collection of volunteers over the last few months, and 1 week I think there were 17 or 18 people on the Tuesday morning. And in terms of general maintenance, that's exactly what people have been doing. Checking the old fences, doing a bit of repairs, and also have a look around as to future works. On the other side of it, we have the community produce team, garden team, who have been doing their work. And I see further down on the agenda, you've got the production of an annual maintenance programme. Steve and I have arranged, we're going to have a get-together to try and work out what needs to be done and when. And the next item, if I may, is item 8, currently known non-routine works. Again, we will cover that at the same time, and one of us will be able to report back to you. And as you say, perhaps it would be an idea if we put it in writing, and then it's a note to everybody and it just saves time at the meeting.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, to be honest. Thank you.
Do any councillors want to go around the site again and have a little look when you're going around? Don't overwhelm them, just to feel a bit more familiar with the site. I mean, I keep thinking I should wander around because I don't know where everything is. Did any of the councillors want to? I mean, most of you, some of them participate in other things on St Francis Field, but did any of you want to?
I don't think so, yeah.
You'd like to?
Yeah, I have to.
Oh, okay, so maybe we could organise a day, maybe a separate day, because you don't want to be there for hours and hours, they might be doing it in many days, but maybe you'd like to go around, maybe someone from the CRC could show everyone around.
Yeah, I should certainly contact them and I'll organise it.
I'd like to have a walk on the Tuesday when we're doing their thing. But
I think it'd be a good idea on the Tuesday.
when they're in the
Yeah, seeing what everyone's up to and have a roll. It gives us an idea as well of who they are actually and who's doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good idea, just
Okay, we'll work on one of those or all of those in little amounts.
10:30 on a Tuesday is a good time. I mean, let us know you're coming, but 10:30 on a Tuesday will work.
Okay. Well, the councillors, could you let me know to let Jackie know? Or let Jackie know? Oh, well, it would be nice for me to know as well. Just include me on the email.
I'll do.
Just have a vague idea.
Fly by the seat of my pants out, so I would kind of randomly just turn up rather than I can never know what I'm doing from one week to the next.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Discuss the production of annual maintenance programmes we've done. To produce this currently non-known routine works we've done. So to agree to apply for a tree felling licence. Licence is free.
It's free, we make life easier. So,
What was the balance? Project.
Just to confirm that the licence could be applied for by the CIC, but we think it would be better if it was applied for by the clerk. Therefore, otherwise council would have to give us authority and it's too complex. So it has to be the clerk, or it could be the clerk that applies for it, and I'm quite happy to come in and help you go through it because it's a lengthy activity and it's dull, but we've got maps of everything and we've got acreages and we just have to mark on the site, on the map, where the areas are, where the ash dieback trees are for biscuits.
I was going to have more importantly, hope you like Jameson's donuts.
Could make the effort. Thank you.
Can I just jump in? I mean, in terms of felling trees, it would be good to see some other sorts of trees felled, like willows over some of the ponds. But also, I mean, it's become apparent that councils either now or in the past, and I'm not 100% certain which, have been agreeing to tree felling off St Francis Fields on the other side of Harvard's Wood. And basically saying to a neighbour, you go ahead and get somebody in to fell it for you, which is how it was described to me today. That may or may not be right, but I've got it I've had a message from somebody just this week about 2 ash trees that they spoke to the council and they were getting their own quotes to have felling done. So that needs to be investigated a bit, but if you are doing stuff like that, I would just say, bats, check out the trees before it's done, before you give someone permission to do that.
No, I'll have so shall we just discuss the source data?
Yeah, I think we need to, yeah,
Just
because
be aware
unless
of-
someone's been ranting all around and finished
Just-
having conversations.
Just be aware of bats on parish council land other than St Francis Fields. So,
Okay.
Well, I've certainly had no conversation with anyone, or am I aware that anyone's
No, it's a while back, and it wasn't edited at the time. We gave permission.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I'll speak to you later.
I don't
For
know,
dates.
to be honest.
I'm not sure. I don't think so, no.
Oh, so not since we've been in?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Right,
Oh,
that's
no,
not
it's-
right. Okay, all right, fine.
We're noting that, we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I would. Okay, thank you. So, basically, we just need to ask, well, is everyone in agreement then?
Yes, is everyone, can the councillors raise their hands that support that?
Jackie, tree regulations?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Planning issues. So, could we please get an update on the pre-application to RDC for change of use?
Yes, the pre-application was submitted last night to RDC. Sent a copy of the main part of it to Mary for circulation to the councillors. You, I hope, got it last night. Right, I'll make sure you need it again.
Been on the laptop a few times, so hopefully this should have popped up in between. Okay.
It is, it's for both, as required by the parish council. It covers both the idea of the DIY livery and also the general equestrian use. And it asks some fairly simple questions, like would they accept, in effect, a dual application, or would they actually separate it in both time and nature, and whether they would be likely to approve one or the other or both, and what conditions might be applied, so that we can get some guidance on that. And it also asks a question as to whether Robert will consult with East Sussex Highways, East Sussex County Council Highways,
Right, okay.
or whether we need to do a separate pre-application.
Oh, well that's begging the answer, yes, but anyhow. Okay.
And that went in last night?
It went in last night, yes. And it is obviously well, once it's been registered, it will be on the public record. I didn't enclose all the attachments, because there were 10 attachments.
I'd love a copy though.
Sorry?
Could you send me the attachment separately? Because I always find that useful.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And an update on appointment of the consultant for biodiversity net gain.
Yes, Collins and Winter have been instructed, and they are sending a representative, somebody called Andy Taylor, to the site on the 10th of April to carry out the base survey, which is the first stage of the exercise.
All right, thank you.
And I or somebody from the CIC will meet with them and escort them around the relevant part of the site.
All right, thank you. You have there, guys.
I thought we were going to get to see, I must have misunderstood, but I did think we were going to get to see the pre-application before you put it in as a general email. Before you
Well,
put
that
it
was agreed by the working group,
It was agreed by the working group. What was agreed?
that we would segregate the councillors before submission.
Ah, that's what I thought. I thought we'd all see the application before you submitted it.
Well,
Never mind,
My apologies to
Yeah, no,
members
that's
of the
all right.
council in that case.
that's fine. It's only a few questions, it's okay.
Right, on to current activities and reports that we could have with regard to pop-up pub. Hello, David.
Pubs run for one Saturday in each of January, February, March a year. Last one was last Saturday. We're currently looking at dates for the summer. Now, pop-up pub is constrained by not only the 28-day rule, but also the limitations on temporary event notice licences. The consequence of that is the pop-up pub can't operate for more than 21 sessions
Throughout the year.
You can't have a pop-up pub on St Francis Fields for more than 21.
Yeah, and then you have the others for the all.
It's a site
Yeah.
restriction, not a pop-up pub restriction.
Yeah.
So basically, we are looking to run it for a maximum of 6 weekends over the summer. And we're currently looking at dates to try and avoid things like Wimbledon finals, cup final, and other things that have to do with their television or going somewhere else locally.
I suppose, sorry to interrupt, I suppose then you can't televise something like that, you can't actually make a pop-up an event which then will include football.
No, you need a
license
to do that. Same problems, post have a license to do that.
And that's horribly expensive.
Okay.
Okay.
So we will certainly come to the next meeting with a list of dates.
That's what I was saying, when you figure out some date. Okay, perfect, thank you. Okay, so the community garden, how are we coming along with that? Have we got anything with regard to that? Come on, fire away.
Okay, so it's coming along very well. The holly tunnel is up and there's stuff growing in there already where it's been planted. Hopefully it's growing. Volunteers have worked very hard. They put some new edging around some of the beds. They're trying to make it super smart, ready for the St Michael's Open Day, because that will be a showcase for the village site to people from outside of the village. So, but also they're trying to grow produce and to make it available free of charge to anybody that can't afford it or by donation, as in previous years. So, yeah, it's going very well and it's very well supported by volunteers.
How many people participate, just out of curiosity?
Sorry?
How many people participate in the community garden?
Yeah, it can be a dozen, it can be less, it can be more, and I believe there are some more people who have expressed an interest in coming up there. Perhaps as the weather gets better, we may have more volunteers.
Are they people separate from the A-team or as well as effectively?
We like to think of all of the volunteers as being a team and the A-team, that they're all a team, so that we try not to segregate.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Have you got anybody else got any questions? Sorry, since it's a report one and there's loads to learn.
No? Okay.
Sorry, can I just add one little thing with the gardens and St Michael's, because I agreed yesterday with St Michael's to include their brochures in the goodie bags for the annual parish meeting. And this year they're free of charge. So there'll be a big bucket of these for the parish meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. New points.
Okay, so the agreement is not just about utes and ponds. It comes through the new partnership, but it's for ponds, which may or may not get grey-crested newts in, we hope they do, but also a wildflower meadow, hedgerow, and then there's the little copse in field 14, which has got various other interesting conservation significant sort of species living in it. In terms of the ponds, we have had issues with water levels. When they were made, I wasn't satisfied with them, and I asked to have a further meeting, which was going to be in December. That took place this month. Everybody was sort of quite busy. We couldn't have done anything about it since anyway, because water levels were so high. They put a bund around the back, basically a bank, which makes it look like the ponds are a lot deeper than they actually are. And I don't think those bunds actually hold water. The southern pond, nearest Beals Lane, that is holding water, but I think it needs to be deeper. The other one has got a real issue. Now, both of those ponds were done with trenches put through beforehand to measure water levels. They held water last year, so it's been done by the new partnership. So, yeah, they're required to come back and try and get this sorted out. So those ponds will be having more work done to them, probably sort of May onwards. It depends on the rainfall.
Okay, thank you.
Otherwise, the meadows are growing and there is some unpaid work going on hedgerows, which will not cost anything.
All right, thank you. Sheepkeep. Over to you.
Yeah, can I just add to John's comment about the new ponds, and that is that any works done to remedial works done to encourage the water to stay in them is at absolutely no cost to the council.
Partnership, isn't it?
It's all done by the partnership, no cost to the council or the parishioners, and it won't affect the money that you are due to be paid at the end, sort of October, November, or whenever it is. So there's no worry about your income, so it won't affect your income stream.
All right, thank you.
That's right. And while we're on the subject of the new ponds, which are in Field 14, could I just report to council that somebody has been leaving open the gates to Field 14 and also 13, or one of the gates to 14, that's the one lowest, nearest to Horrocks Wood. And also there was a gap in the fencing near the gate closest to Beals Lane, which now has been, the gaps in the fencing been filled up by volunteers. And we are going to, we put locks on both of the gates, and we're going to put a lock on Field 13 as well. Because the worry is that people are walking dogs through 14, and we had a conversation with council before the new ponds were put in about not having dogs in there if it can be avoided, particularly if people think they can let their dogs run off a lead when there's no stock in there. So just to be aware of it. Sheep, yes, we have sheep and lambs, and the shepherd moves them around to see the growing conditions of the grass.
Okay. Is everyone happy up there? Are they all right?
Everyone's in the orchard.
Yeah. Is that where they are at the moment? The orchard?
Saving money.
Yeah. That's fine. Thank you, Vicky. So moving on to the Community Orchard Conservation Society update report. I have a report here from Sarah Giles. So the fruit and nut trees have come through the winter and its regular strong gales very well and are all coming into bud. They've had their annual winter prune and the ground around each tree has had its first spring weed, so they're now ready for the new growing season. They will be checked for pests and diseases and weeded regularly from now until October. Meanwhile, on the advice of ecologist Brian Banks, we've planted a new double row of native hedge saplings inside the original row of hedging across the top of the orchard. This is to speed up the availability of nesting habitats for birds and a protected cover for small mammals. We're delighted to welcome a small group of sheep and lambs to the orchard in March. Apart from being a picturesque addition to our fledgling orchard, the ewes have made a good job of keeping the grass down while the ground is too wet for its first proper mowing of the season. On a less happy note, there has been some vandalism to the orchard information board by the double gates. A deep gash has been made across the waterproof graphics panel, rendering it no longer waterproof, so a new panel is now needed.
So if there was a big issue to talk about with the orchard, Sarah would come to the meeting. It's just news items she will send.
Yeah, she just sent a report, that's fine. I'm quite happy to read that out. Is there anything that anybody wants to say about community orchard that you want to put, that we can pass to Sarah or no?
I think the more saying you've done a good job.
Sorry?
That's when we went up to the point, someone went up to the Wassail event. Oh, the singing and the...
Well done.
It's good.
I've done one of those over at the Red Lion before.
I did that.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Right, future ventures. Natural burial ground. So obtaining indicative costs. This is for Rob, yeah, I know, that's who I just looked at.
It's a good question. I'm trying to do a little bit of research onto this.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I look across Britain, sorry, UK, there's 18,000 burial grounds with churches. There's 4,000 with council cemeteries. Natural burial grounds, 270.
Is there?
That's it.
Wow.
I've spoken to some undertakers to get an idea
Yeah,
from them.
yeah.
Basically telling me that the cremations are now 80% of the total, and it's increasing.
Cost. Oh, not no.
I don't have cost.
Oh, no, it cost to her.
Okay, with a natural burial ground. I did bring this up at the last council meeting because I was concerned that we had a budget of about 50,000 and there were indicated costs of 200,000 possibly. I've asked the undertakers why so few burial grounds. I said they're not popular.
No, it's cost, isn't it? They are expensive to preserve.
Well, I was absolutely staggered.
Natural ones.
Natural ones, yeah.
Natural.
Across the UK, for the burial of a full corpse, between £1,795 and £5,875. Just the burial. And for the ashes, between £795 and £2,375. Yeah. So I put it to the undertakers, what would their preference be, generally?
Yeah.
They said, always extend the existing. That's what people want.
Starwise.
Extend the existing ones, if you can do that.
Starwise though, because if you meant extending what you've got here, it's the traditional.
Yeah.
Although it's extremely varied what you find in
Traditional with headstones, the usual stuff.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? I mean, it says here obtaining sort of general cost, indicative cost, so do we know what the cost overall is going to be for having this? Do you not think we should find that out?
I thought the idea that it wasn't all
I don't know, but we've just paid for the engine and then game part, that was £3,000.
I thought we had an idea of rough costings.
Well, we did it last working group.
Yeah, okay.
It was discussed.
Well, what was that? And what was it now?
200,000.
That's the ceiling.
That is that.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
the
it's better than nothing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
yes, yeah, it's better to have an idea rather than
So,
not.
Would it be not a good idea for someone to go and find out a few more detailed
Right.
costs?
Yeah.
Oh, Jackie, sorry, I don't see you.
I thought I was finishing for just waiting for her to finish, aren't I?
Can I just remind some of you that there was a group set up between some councillors and some CIC members to actually have a look, and some of us met the local undertakers, and we started to talk about all of this.
Yeah.
And we never did come up with a price because, like many other things associated with St Francis Field, it's chicken and egg. Do you spend money on finding out whether or not the groundwater is appropriate? And we know how much that costs because I got you prices. Do we spend money on that and find out it's not appropriate, or spend money on it and find out it is appropriate, and then get planning, go for planning and find out, no, you can't have it? So between us all, councillors and ourselves, we could find prices out, back of a fact packet almost, for putting the access roadway in and changing the current access at that end of the permissive footpath, and again, back of a fact packet, to get some sort of a surface to go up the top, and the parking area and the turning area that's necessary. But if we got it today, in 6 months' time, it would be different. In a year's time, it would be different. But I mean, we're quite happy to work with council, but I think it might be something that to actually resurrect the original, well, with different people if necessary, but resurrect the original plan of a working group, so have it separate from this.
I think that's probably a good idea because
You already have this.
Well,
There
yeah.
is a
but what
You've got a cemetery working group.
Yeah, but Jackie's saying resurrect it.
It
hasn't
hasn't met.
It hasn't met. There's no nothing to actually happen.
Nobody said we need to meet.
This is what we're saying. It's just we've got one, but what they do.
What was Julian and who else was part of that?
Hey.
We're waiting to go and see what it's about planning commissioners.
I think it's difficult because again, like you say, Jackie, it's chicken and egg. But for me, I think sometimes a phone call or a chat with someone that is in that environment, or it doesn't cost anything to get rough ideas. And I think all of us are guilty of it at the end of the day. I think if we had a rough idea of a cost, then we would know that whether or not something, not particularly that, whatever, but it's viable to actually even put a planning permission in for it. Other than going, oh well, there's no point, we can't look for a cost because we don't, it might not happen, so let's just go for the planning permission or whatever. Am I making sense? I think sometimes if we all had a rough cost of something in our minds, I mean,
It's out of date.
yeah, out of date, it's a rough cost, isn't it? I mean, God, I'm sure we all know people
Well, if
that
we
could give us
didn't
that, oh
have
yeah, that
anybody
would
else
cost
to
about
rock
X
and then we
amount.
turn up and can't afford it anyway, because it's going to cost us too much money,
Yeah, and pay for
then
local
we
planning.
wasted
Yeah.
5, 6, 10 grand just to find out actually we can get it done, but we can't afford it anyway. I just think we need to find that out as well.
Go on, Karen.
asked me, he was going to arrange bringing up someone from the natural burial grounds.
Yes, I did, and they were very keen to come, but I only got one response, which was, we've already done this. So I'm happy to do it again, and it was only brought up at the last meeting to do it again, so
And
I'm happy.
maybe revisit, maybe other councillors want to do the natural burial ground, maybe, if we do it and others might not. Maybe
Well-
revisit who wants to be on board.
Okay, I can go back. It's the people who do most of the stuff with the baton that called the burial ground.
Yeah, the latter one.
They were very keen, yeah.
Yeah.
They were very keen to come out. Yes, that's why I rang.
Obviously, I don't recall getting an email to the whole of the working group that's in place from myself.
Apologies if I missed you. It wasn't.
I got the original one when you said about, and then I haven't heard anything more since, so I was
Yes, partly that, but I did get a negative response, so I thought, okay, couple verbally and one in writing, so I thought, oh well, I'll get on with something else. It's for the moment.
Okay.
Chairman,
I'll revisit that.
may I make a suggestion?
Go on.
Yes, you can probably approach various people who will give you some sort of an idea, but I think if you want to have a reasonably thorough view, then I think we could approach GTA, who of course have done the transport plan. They must know roughly, I mean the big cost is going to be that junction at the bottom of the slope. I think the road surface has to be built for the first, I think it's 15 or maybe 20 metres to meet local authority standards. So that is going to be a big cost. And as David said, the other big cost is going to be putting some sort of a surface to go up to the circle, the turning circle, and indeed right up to the gate. Those are the big costs. Now, I think GTA would probably be happy to do that, but they might charge a few
So
And that's the
have
point,
to
I
do
just
it.
think if we could, yeah.
I think we should be able to do this ourselves.
I think so.
I've had people,
I'm very sure I can get rough estimate.
I certainly had Hailsham, whatever road services come and give me a quote for putting up an appropriate surface into the cemetery in Ida. That's how I got that one. He wrote it, he didn't do a full detail, he sent me an email.
That's the one where you sent us, you told us about the layer, the ground layer that they're using the National Trusts. What was it you said before about the surfaces they're using in the National Trusts for pathways and things like that?
I use polymer.
Yeah, it's plastic,
Yeah.
plastic mesh, same sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, crates, glass crates.
Same sort of stuff.
That's the one you said before, wasn't it? Yeah. I thought you said something, yeah.
I'm happy to help, but I'm happy to get some people in. I mean, hopefully they won't charge. I'm a bit scared that they'll want to charge. Because unfortunately they're not. No, some people do. Any councillors fancy having a go? We just need to have a bit of information as to what exactly is the specification. Do you have any specs from GTA Civils? I haven't looked into all of this.
I can help out.
Have you got any specifications? You know what the highway specifications are? No. Okay, well they will know if they know what they're doing.
I will see if I can get GTA to give us a rough estimate.
That would be handy as well to have a few,
Perfect.
few ballparks. Because if it comes out there's going to be 500,000, you're going to sit there and think, oh, perhaps we should rethink.
Yeah, and I just don't see the point in applying for something, spending money to apply for something, to do something, if we don't know roughly how much the end goal price is going to cost. I think it's...
That's like most projects, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, but you do all,
Yeah,
when
it
you
is,
do a
but
project, you do all of them.
Before you do a project, you get a rough idea of what it's going to cost you. You don't go, oh, I'm going to go and do my budget, but I'm not going to work out how much it's going to cost, I'm just going to do it. So it's just, do you know what I mean?
I wasn't involved, but I've seen numbers from that effect.
Yeah, which is fine.
In the end, it's a horrible thing to say on a very emotive subject, but it's going to have to be a business plan
Yeah.
that says the income from...
Can I just say, sorry to interrupt, but why hasn't that been done already? Why haven't we, do we actually have a site plan, we know how much the road's going to come in, what the road's got to be tarmac or not, and then from that point on up to where the burial ground's going to be, how much is that going to be, the length, size, we don't have any of those at all.
In respect, this has been discussed at council meetings, and we don't want to do anything. It's been discussed at council meetings. Jackie was asked to get the groundwater survey done, which was the first stage. It's done.
Yeah.
Our only instruction is to apply for planning, for planning consent for a better natural burial ground. That's the instruction.
Okay, we need to get on with it and do that then, don't we?
I think some of the cemeteries all have a business plan, originally, when I first started.
How long have we had a working group for? Has that been 18 months we've had a working group? I'm sure we had a working group specifically to do with that. If we've had a working group, has that not ever been discussed within that working group?
That's what we're just saying, there's been no meetings, so we're going to resurrect that. That's what we're saying.
Julian, Pete and somebody else.
Carol's on it.
So we should have
Tony's asking who's on the actual
We
working
haven't
group.
been together for 18 months. No, there was a working group set up under the council prior to yourselves, because I was on it.
Oh, right, okay. All right, well, let's draw a line under that, then we can sit all night, can't we? Let's get that back up and running.
Did you calculate either in bottom of money?
That's stumbling block, I think, the soil sample, if the soil isn't...
Have you done that bit?
It's been done.
Exactly, I said that's the stumbling block.
Yeah.
Of course, the rest
Just it's getting moving and moving.
we
Everything's just so stagnant. We just get stuff done.
Plus the fact that, of course, if we can't do it because it's too expensive.
Exactly, there's no point.
So quite a big explanation to the residents because it's just really the original perspective.
All right, well, I think we need to get that back up and running. Thank you. Right, so, management agreement, side letter has been signed by both parties and exchanged.
Almost exchanged. We're almost there.
It hasn't yet been signed.
We're at,
By,
yeah,
you may have signed it,
Yeah.
the CIC is not.
yes, we're almost there.
Mary and I will get together.
Okay, thank you. Items for the next agenda, Sussex Threshing Barn presentation in the next meeting.
Is that okay?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Is it okay to use the projector if I need to? Is that okay?
Can I ask, sorry, do you feel that we should be back in here for the presentation rather than in the Jenkins room? Because I can just swap the rooms across, which means then I can ask about this projector. I don't think there's is there a projector in the Jenkins room? No. So shall we ask to move it back in here for the next meeting?
In answer to that question then, yeah. Date of next meeting is the 22nd of April.
Anyone else got any
Oh,
comments?
sorry, does anyone else have anything they'd like to add to that? Apologies.
Yes, unfortunately I have to report that Sue Fields, who had volunteered to produce a planning statement for the natural weather grant, which is a necessary part of the planning application process, has decided that she cannot complete the exercise because she's heavily committed at work and family matters. So between now and the 22nd of April, I need to come up with some proposal as to how we're going to get that work completed.
Oh, I have someone who said they made a very large gesture and said, no win, no fee, I will do your change of use. £1,000. He said, but you would be including, there would be extra costs for drawings. And I left it at that because I just made a general inquiry. So if you like, I could pursue that, or I can give you the person and pursue it. But I started, so I may as well do that one. As well as if you, so that would be one less. But I would like to, I therefore need, that would be very handy to see the attachments for your pre-application. Because then I would know if he needs any drawings. I don't know if you ever have.
No, it doesn't need the drawings.
He doesn't need it. No, and he did say, because I said you were a bit strapped for cash, and he said, I could do that for 1,000, but there might be the odd extra drawing. And I was thinking in the back of my mind, well, I don't know how many drawings they need. So yes, and maybe you can find some others as well, because we'll need a few people. If we're going to have to use someone, I'd rather use someone who knows exactly what they're doing, as in, because I think it's rather a large task for anyone to be, the tree licence is, probably just, that's quite hard, and then doing a planning.
Yeah, and I think the thing is as well, if we're, whoever is trying or attempting, if it isn't something that people are continually doing and have a good idea of it, then A, it's going to take longer, B, it's not fair, the responsibility of it, and, C, it might get wrong.
Yes. But I can...
Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so thank you. Next date of next meeting is 20th of April at 7 p.m, which we may well just be in here. We'll be in here. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, public, and good night.